Friends, how are you doing? It is Wednesday, December 3rd. Let's get right into it. Richtech, Big Bear, what's going on? So, if you don't know, you should know. We got more confidence today that rate cuts definitely are coming. Payroll reports came out today, and they were just bad enough where we should see the Feds go, okay, we're going to have to do a rate cut. So the market loved this. It was just the right bad news / good news we needed, and the market is rolling. And this is where the conversation that I keep having here is that, the market is dragging everything with it. The S&P 500 is obviously moving up here, getting closer to 7,000 point range. It looks like this is definitely going to be us next week. Next Wednesday is when the Feds talk and they do the rate cut. Now, off that rate cut, probably the Feds will go silent. They'll come out, they'll talk. God willing, Jerome doesn't say anything devastating to hurt this rate cut. Hopefully he doesn't talk much. So we see that, but two, there is this thing that is going on right now that I think probably will pop the market. It's not just me. If you know the market, then this is probably a clear-cut, important moment that we're going to see here. Trump should be announcing, from what we're hearing this week, next week, somewhere before Christmas, he should be announcing the new chairman, okay? Now, there's a handful of people that people are taking bets on right now. Either way, what the good thing with this is right now is that it's going to be someone that is more enthusiastic, more, essentially what we've had is a Eeyore, and probably what we're going to get is a Tigger. So we're going to have someone that, from the pick that we're seeing, the litter here, it's going to be someone who's very happy, outgoing, and they're probably not going to be so doubtful of what's coming. They'll be doubtful in the right words, language, but not someone who's going to probably sink the market just by, comments. So essentially, this will be our last rate cut with Jerome Powell, guaranteed. And he's out in May, and then we'll have the new person in there. And then, it could happen as fast as June, July, where we start to see more rate cuts, and we'll see how aggressive they are. This is why bank stocks, ETFs, will do really well next year, So with that, the whole reason I said that is because when Trump announces this person, the market will probably pop off that. So there's moments here in December that rate cut, Trump announcing a new chairman, that those will be big moments that will push into the market 100%. So yeah, be expecting that. Big Bear, let's go right into conversation with Big Bear. So everything really is moving up right now. We're seeing smaller cap stocks do well. Obviously MAG, everything's doing well. Richtech could not be having a better moment right now. Let's be honest with that. It's looking for $5 again here. This is why I warn people, man. I was like, listen, you may not believe this, but Richtech is gonna go back up. It's gonna go back up. It's happening. So the bad news today, and I didn't talk about this yesterday because it kind of came out after I made the video, but Big Bear, and I figured this was coming. I was actually talking to a buddy about this when this whole conversation came out with these Q3s, and it was announced that Big Bear was spending this $250 million on this Sage software. Which is great. There's no doubt, but this is good. This is good that Big Bear is moving in this direction. This is what you want to see. They're allocating money back into the company, into their software to push what they're doing here. It's great. And they're doing it because they know they're going to have bigger and better deals coming here. I'm pretty much reading the writing on the wall here. I think Kevin is saying, hey, we've got some things brewing here going into next year. Things are going to get better. We have to have this source to get to the next push, to get to bigger quarterlies, to get to bigger and better deals. So it's good. This is really good. Now, with Big Bear now having this authorizing 1 billion shares and adopting new bylaws, as this article says, essentially stock offering here. To me, I've been through companies that have done this, and right now I feel confident with the main goal of Big Bear right now. The stock offering does not really scare me. Essentially, they need money. They're looking for money, okay? And this is kind of why I was thinking that we might see a stock offering. because, this is a lot of money Big Bear is spending. They're spending, that's $250 million for a company that is struggling to make 31, 32 at the most $1 million quarterlies here. And, a lot of what we thought we were going to get this year, especially with that big deal back in November, that first big defense deal that got cut quite a bit, revenue is not going to hit what we thought this year. But the avenue, the road of where Big Bear still is going here in 2026 is really good here because, we're seeing a clear-cut sign that they're going after deals. They're revamping the company 100%. So this doesn't scare me. I don't look at this and I go like, oh my God, this is terrible. This isn't a reverse stock split. If this was a reverse stock split, this would be a nightmare situation. We are nowhere in that conversation. A stock offering is extremely different than what we're dealing with, what could be on the other side of the table here. And so I think the main goal, like I said here, the main road, Big Bear is still on that. What we need and what we want to see here with Big Bear going into 2026 is more deals, more of Big Bear pushing money into the company. And I think this is kind of what they're doing right now, and this is fantastic. So there could be a situation maybe where they do this even again somewhere in the future here. I would not be surprised because they're going to have to raise capital. Obviously I don't work for Big Bear, but kind of putting the puzzle pieces together here, if I had to guess what is going on internally in this company right now, we've seen some kind of, the black and white in the picture. We've seen kind of what's happening here. And, a lot of this has been in the beginning of the year. Big Bear, if you remember, was having lawsuit trouble where, it had come out that Big Bear the last few years here wasn't being truthful on revenue. Things were not what they were told, in revenue. Okay, that was a big deal. We were dealing with that for quite a bit. It seemed like forever, but we finally got through it, dust settled, and we haven't heard about it since. Kevin came to the helm here as CEO. He's been with the company, but he has taken over full leadership of the company. Kevin has a background in military and Trump too. So, well, once you know it, now we have seen Big Bear really push into these defense deals. Not only that, but security for these airlines, and they keep coming here. This is fantastic. We've also seen complete restructure of the company from top to the bottom to the top here, from Kevin down. This is great. So saying all that to say here, I'm sure there's a lot more drama, more of a mess inside Big Bear than we knew about, okay? Because they've kind of come in here, the newer leadership, and kind of cleaned house, it looks like. And I'm sure I'm sure the bank accounts were not what they were told it was, what they thought it was here. So I'm sure they do need cash. I'm sure they do need to say, hey, we have good, our software, what we have as a company, Big Bear, our bread and butter, it's good, yes. But we can make it better, and we're going to have to make it better if we want to get ahead here and capture bigger deals here. And, so this is kind of what I think is going on inside the company. Now, obviously, I'm totally speculating here. I don't have like a spy inside the company. Wish I did so I could really know what's going on. But, obviously that would be cheating here too. If I had to guess, I would say this is probably what is going on with following Big Bear for over a year now, kind of, pinpoint moments here, what's happened, good, bad, everything, quarterlies not being what we were told they were going to be. That Q2 was devastating. Before that second quarterly came out, I'm telling truth, because if you were here with me, I said, hey, I don't know that they're going to hit this quarterly. I really don't. I'm expecting them to not make it, but I'm expecting it to be somewhere in the 33 to 34 million. It wasn't even that. So that told us, okay, things are not what they appear here with revenue with Big Bear. Now, Q3 that came out here, it cleaned up a little bit. Things were a little bit better. Still nowhere near what Wall Street is wanting this to be. But, it could have been the high 20s. Thank God it wasn't. So right now, if Big Bear can at least clean out the year here with this Q4 that will be coming out in the beginning of next year, I mean, if it can even make it remotely to 32, 33 million, that would be a clear-cut victory, and probably will not beat expectation, but still, it would be enough to say, like, okay, we're at least moving up in the right direction here. So I say all this to say, don't be scared with what's going on right now. Okay. If you've been in the market for a few seasons, I'm sure everyone has went through situations like this. It's not the end of the world, for God's sakes. One big deal, two big deals can completely change everything over here with Big Bear. 100%. They're obviously having to make some hard decisions right now. They're spending money. They need money. They're taking in money. Things are going on over here. So this isn't really scaring me. And the stock is running a little bit now, staying in this $6 range. Like I said, the market is dragging a lot of stocks with it. We're seeing that. So if Big Bear closes out this year around $6, $7, I mean, that's great. That is fantastic. That is great. That is a clear-cut victory, I think, for a lot of people. So friends, yeah, that's what I have to say about Big Bear. And we're watching it. We're watching what happens here. Richtech. Okay, good Lord. Richtech is moving up. So if you're wondering why Richtech is moving up, mainly that Richtech has been slowly getting life pushed back into it, just on an organic, pace here. Obviously, market dragging stocks with it. We're starting to see a push up. Now today, it was announced in Richtech, a lot of robotic stocks, but Richtech really taking a lot of good part of this today. The Trump administration is reportedly considering issuing an executive order on robotics in 2026. Wow, consumer security, Howard. This is a very broad statement right here. Okay, now with that, a lot of robotic stocks blew up today. Okay, Richtech here. Here's what I'll say. I don't know where Richtech fits in, and I love Richtech. So, like, if you're thinking like I'm about to like bring the hammer down here, I am and I'm not, okay? But I do want to bring a double-edged sword to this conversation, because as someone who is very optimistic and kind of obsessed with Richtech here for a while now, I want to tell you that I look at Richtech and I go, as of right now, knowing what Richtech, their main mission is as a company, I don't know where they fit into a defense category, but obviously administration looking at robotic companies are going to be looking at many different things here. So I don't know where Richtech fits into that conversation. What is the Trump administration looking at with robotics? I'm sure we don't fully know the answer to this. This is a very broad statement. Richtech here is essentially very much into the service industry. That they've made this very clear. Now, I don't say that to go like, don't get your hopes up. I say that to say this, like, I'm curious. I don't know. But the good thing with Richtech is right now is that they're very advanced. I literally said this 24 hours ago. I said this in a video. Richtech is unlike a lot of these other robotic companies out here. Obviously, Optimus, Tesla's robot, is going to be very integrated into many things we cannot even comprehend right now. Okay, Optimus is coming to market next year. Dude, I just said this. I am very thinking that the theme of next year's market can be robotics, and this right here is very much getting that kind of. If you heard me say, I've been saying this. There could be a heavy push in robotics next year in the market. So with that, what's going to happen? It's going to be chum in the water. This is already clear-cut signs of that. Richtech just didn't get it. They didn't get a deal. Nothing happened. It's still Richtech from last week. Yes, they're pushing. They're doing great. Things are actually going on with the company. But they didn't receive some $1 million deal. This is just speculation. This is chum in the water. This is robotics are getting attention. So with this conversation, this is what you could be seeing next year, where Richtech not making that much money, but developing their software, developing their robots. They could just start to get very expensive. There's plenty of stocks in the market that are very expensive stocks, but the companies aren't profitable yet. This is like the theme of the last couple years in the market, especially with AI stocks, software stocks. It's very interesting, man. This is very interesting. So this is why I've been saying this. Like, it's crazy. When stuff happens like this, you go like, oh my God, like literally, this is kind of what I've been thinking and seeing here. Richtech, I say all to say, like, it's not a bad company, but I am curious to see if they do get some kind of deal with the Trump administration. What would that look like? What are they using them for? Who knows? Now, if I had to imagine, go with me here. We're going on a goose chase right now, okay? But being an investor is like being a detective, okay? So go with me here. Go with me, okay? We're gossiping now. We are gossiping, okay? So what do we know about Richtech? One of the biggest things that Richtech has going for it right now is that they have partnered with NVIDIA. Okay, let's follow this thread here. NVIDIA. Who is their CEO? Jensen. Who is Jensen good friends with and you see talking to a particular person a lot? Trump. Trump, Jensen, friends, know each other. NVIDIA, Richtech. Richtech using NVIDIA chips. Jensen, phone call. Trump. I don't know. I'm speculating here. We're gossiping. I don't know we're gossiping. So, what does this look like next year? How aggressive does this get? Do we see the Defense Department say, hey, we are looking for, security robotics, whatever that looks like, whatever they're wanting to use them for, labs, whatever. I don't know. This is all new. This is all new. This is why this is so exciting, because we are going into a whole new market right now. So off this news, like, I would not be shocked to see Richtech start to get a lot more push. I'm telling you, man, these robotic stocks are going to get a lot of attention. Richtech is different because most robotic stocks out here right now, besides a small handful, are essentially just vacuum companies. They have robots, but they're vacuums, or they're just those big kind of handed robots you see putting cars together, stuff like that. Richtech is one of the few robotic companies that are semi-humanoid, okay? Now, obviously, Richtech, their robots, they don't exactly look like humans. Adam, their, flagship robot here. But all in all, they are service robots. They are built to work, serve. And that may just be good enough to see a contract show up here with administration. Man, be excited. Be excited. Being an investor, I swear I should make a shirt. Being an investor is like being a detective. I've said this time and time again, but it really is. You have to follow clues. And if I had to make a assumption with Richtech having some good ends right now, they have a good end because they have Jensen who knows about them and, can easily swing into the ear of, that administration, Trump, whoever's looking at this, whoever he's working with. I think sometimes it's that easy. It could be that easy. It really could. So, friends, be excited. Be excited. We'll see what happens here. Man, what a time to be an investor. What a time. Sometimes it just doesn't seem fair. Does that make sense? It doesn't. Like, we have so much information at our fingertips as investors, and if we just do the slightest bit of looking into things, kind of dreaming a little bit what could happen, things work out, man. They work out. Let's see what happens here the rest of this week. Be excited. Bye, everyone.